Gorn. Gorn is, well, it's a slightly insane virtual reality gladiator simulator, featuring various weapons designed for nothing but battering your foes into fleshy chunks. This isn't even really a game. It's a physics engine with a game somewhat haphazardly taped over it. A game in which you beat muscle men to a pulp with weapons ranging from flopping maces to arm-replacing power fists. It feels awesome, but is it great or garbage? Starting with the story, it doesn't exist. You play as someone you literally can't see besides your hands, which are gloved the whole time, and fight in an arena for the amusement of a supposed king who doesn't die when shot with arrows repeatedly. That's literally it. That's the entire story. The gameplay is pretty simple in concept. You are in an arena. There are people who want to kill you. You also probably want to kill them. Go. Okay, there is more to it than that, but really not that much. So starting with the obvious, you can batter your enemies into a gooey pulp and bloodstains. Lots of bloodstains. Oh, and did I mention you can carry their limbs about and beat other enemies to death with them? Aside from wielding enemy limbs, you can wield a variety pack of other weapons ranging from unbelievably useful to utterly awful. I would rather be using my fists. These weapons include, but are not limited to, bats, maces, axes, knives, wooden poles, dual-wield katanas, and two-handed swinging knives. I'd say about half of the weapons are actually useful, while the rest are less effective than just punching your enemies senseless. Personally, I've taken to the mace as a personal favourite out of the normal weapons, alongside the katanas. On the other hand, I find most of the two-handed weapons to be completely useless and a massive pain in the ass, because they require both hands and are generally harder to properly use. Not to mention, when you swing them, they stop like you're trying to swing a bloody lumber bus. I say normal weapons because the game has some pretty great special options, most of which either replace your entire hand or are mounted on your hand. My personal favourites are the powerless metal fists and the grappling hook. However, I do have a gripe with the grappling hook in that it grapples onto everything in the general direction of your target before your actual target, meaning it can be kind of useless sometimes. But, when it does work, it feels like committing reverse fuse rodar on your enemies. Combining this with a big metal fist to the face, especially in slow motion, is pretty damn epic. In slow motion especially, because your hands still move at full speed, giving you more momentum. Slow time down enough and you can usually punch your enemies into outer fucking space. Besides the game speed modifier, there are loads of other silly modifiers in the custom mode, such as the big heads modifier, which is an absolute blast. Big heads is one of my favourite modifiers because it is just absolutely ridiculous. It makes your foes' heads bigger or smaller, which is great fun because it can either make the challenge harder or easier, and also looks completely ridiculous and is just absolutely hilarious in every conceivable way possible. Alternatively to playing the custom mode, you can play the primary quote-unquote campaign, which is really just a series of challenges leading up to a boss fight with a unique gimmick. Each boss is pretty different. Some simply have lots of weapons, others are highly armoured, and others have all kinds of special attacks and movesets. This is pretty fun and does a good job of introducing the weapons. However, you sometimes get stuck with crap-ass weapons against a large number of enemies, which sucks some serious balls. There is one boss that I really hate. I know I said Warhammer 40k Space Marine disappointed me with its final boss. Well, this didn't just disappoint and frustrate me, this drove me to outright rage quit. The final boss of this game is just a disgrace. It's quite possibly one of the worst boss fights I've ever played. It opens with you fighting flying heads, trying to bat them to a specific place on the map to progress. But if you run out of flying heads, it auto-progresses you to the next segment. That wouldn't be so bad if the weapons weren't so damn inconsistent, their hitbox is so damn small, and you didn't die so damn fast. Imagine it like this. You're playing baseball, but the baseballs are golf balls. You're swinging a pool cue, and if you miss a single ball, you die in under 2 seconds, unless there is another ball which you manage to hit while mostly blind. Oh, and did I mention that the next stage is spamming every enemy in the game, including bosses, at you? Yeah, you now have to do the same thing while fighting off literally every enemy in the game. Does it make sense why I hate this boss fight now? No, well, one hit is still death unless you can kill something in about a nanosecond and 3/4. Yes, seriously, one stray hit and it's game over. Back to being pissed off at flying heads. In perfect contrast with the final boss fight and complementing the gameplay brilliantly is the audio. The sound design is extremely satisfying and very enjoyable to listen to, making the brutal fun of the game much more intense and in a way much more enjoyable. In conclusion, I would say that Gorn is actually a pretty good game so long as you can get over the final boss fight or just outright ignore it. Sure, it's a bit glitchy, yeah, not all the weapons are great, and I'll even concede that it can get rather frustrating sometimes. But overall, it's actually a ton of fun. I had a great time playing through most of this game for this review, and if you own a VR headset, I would absolutely recommend you go and buy this game if you like beating the shit out of anything and everything that moves. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and beat that bell icon to death to see more from me. I have been your host, Vert343, signing off. Peace out, gentlemen.